Lesson 9-5, page 308 from your math journal. On this page, we are asked to make personal references. So you can see here, personal references. A personal reference is something that is familiar. It's a familiar object. We're going to look around our house for objects that are familiar to you, that are approximately 1 inch square, or 1 square inch, then 1 foot square, or 1 square foot, okay, and so on. And 1 square yard. A yard is 36 inches, or 3 feet. An example of an item that is 1 square inch could be an eraser. Here we have multiple erasers that are all 1 square inch. An example of an item that is 1 square foot could be a photo album, as you see there. Go ahead and look for something that is 1 square yard, 1 square centimeter, and 1 square meter. And you can write more than one thing. Go ahead and give it a try. Page 309. Here we're going to look for the area of a triangle as well as the area of a parallelogram. For area, we've learned so far to use the equation or the formula. Area is equal to length times width. Okay. For the sake of uniformity, let's change length, okay, to height. Let's change it to height. So height, and let's change width to base. So area equals base, height times base, or area equal base times height. I think this one is the most common one we can use. Area equals base times height. Keep in mind that we talked about a triangle being half the area of a rectangle. And you can see that simply by this image here. So you can see I can draw a perfect rectangle, and this over here is the same as this right here, and this over here is the same size as this here. If I put this piece with this piece together, I'll get exactly this triangle here. So really, a triangle is half of a rectangle. Because it is half of a rectangle, we will use almost the same formula, except now we're going to say area is half the base times the height. Remember to only have one of the variables. It's either half the base or it can be half the height. But only one of them, only one of the variables needs to be half. Because we are talking about height, as you see here, we can't actually measure the length. We cannot. We can't measure this. We must measure the height. And the height is this. Right here. How far is it? Because really, if you stretch this out and you stand it up, this line will be longer than this line. So we work with the height. So we want to count 1, 2, and 3. We have 3, and we're not told what unit we're using. We don't know if we're using centimeters, meters, so we're just going to write 3 units. And then over here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 5 units along the bottom. One of these two numbers needs to be half, because we're working with half base, as you see here, half base. Okay? And they're both odd numbers. So it doesn't really matter which one you make your base. This could be your base, or this could be your base. Please write down the formula. Area equals half base times height, and now replace your variables. We have a base of 5 and a height of 3. Whenever you multiply a whole number by a half, you will get half of that number. So 5 times a half equals 2.5. When you do the second one, remember to count the squares for the height. So here I have from one coordinate to this coordinate I have 2. 1, 2. And then the height is from this baseline to the highest point. I have 1, 2, 3. So what I have is 2 and 3. Area equals half base times height. So let's replace the variables. We have area equals half of a base. Half of the base, we agreed that it was 2. So times 1, 2, 3 times 3. Half the base, what's 2 times a half? Oh, let's get rid of that. 2 times a half is going to give me half of whatever 2 is. It's 1. So now our new equation is 1 times 3. And don't forget that it has to be squared units. Okay, so my answer here would be 3 units squared. 3 units squared. For the parallelogram, we do not have to write half because it's just like a rectangle, except it looks like it's been pushed from this direction, right? It's also 2 triangles, so if you do the one for the triangle, make sure that you double it because we still have both of them. So rather than doubling it, just to use the formula area equals base times height. Let's identify the base. Here's the base. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And the height? 1, 2, 3. Remember that the height is from the base to the highest point. It is not the length. Okay, I hope you got that. Not that. Okay, boys and girls, practice what you just learned on the next page. Make sure that you look up here and notice that we are working with centimeters. Okay, so each box is equal to a centimeter. So identify the dimensions first, the height and the base. Use the formula and write the answer. The page has been very nice to you and they've already written the unit squared for you. You see that? I kind of wish they hadn't so that you are able to remember to do it on your own. Do not do the math boxes. Let's practice number 1 first. Actually, let's practice number 3 first together. Let's see. I have a base of 1, 2, and 3. And then I have a height of 1, 2, and 3. So my equation will be area equals half my base, which is 3, times my height, which is 3. Okay, we'll check these tomorrow in class. Oh yes, and I almost forgot. I will know that you watched the video if tomorrow when I check your work, I see a star inside of the parallelogram. See you tomorrow.